boy.
Alright guys, thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be talking about Garmin's newest track and train collar, the TT25, and we're going to compare it and kind of point out some cool things about it and some of the features that it has, as well as some of the accessories that it's got as well. And we're going to compare the difference between the TT25 and the T20 collars. Before we get into today's video, I want to give a big shout out and a big thank you to Conky's Outdoors. Conky's Outdoors has been a big sponsor and part of our channel since the very beginning when we started. They are a great family-owned company down in North Florida. They ship things wicked quick, and they've got just about everything that you would want and need for any of your hunting dog essentials. Collars and leads to supplements to Garmin products and briar-proof gear, anything that you want, you name it, they've got it. And they're backed behind a great staff of very knowledgeable people that have the answers to whatever questions you might have. So if you need anything, or if you just want to shop and support a great company that supports our sport, check out Conky's Outdoors and let them know that we sent you. You can also use code WARPLANE5 and save yourself a little bit of money at checkout. And it goes back to helping to support our channel. So check them out, use the link down in the description. We've got a list of all the products that we haul to the woods every night that we know and trust and love, as well as all of our merch. So if you're interested in picking up any of our hoodies or hats or t-shirts, we spent a lot of time, especially my wife and Zach Conky, they worked really hard on making those designs. So if you guys want to check that stuff out, do it. Helps the channel a lot, and your support means a lot. Let's get into the video. So the TT25 is a track and train collar. That means it's got little prongs for stimulation. You've got shock, you've got vibrate, and you've got tone. You cannot use these collars in, and I'm going to talk in regards to what we use them for, and if you're a coon hunter, what you're going to use yours for. You cannot use those collars during any kind of sanctioned night hunt. So whether it be UKC or PKC or Pro Sport, you can't use a collar that has training on it. So you would need to use a T20 collar that is the same thing, it's essentially the same exact unit and everything, but it doesn't have any kind of stimulation. If you're just hunting on a regular random Monday night and you want to be able to have, you know, control over your dog while he's a ways out there, then the TT25 is exactly what you're looking for. If you don't competition hunt, or if you already have a competition set up, the TT25 is great for those random nights where you want to have control over your dog and beep them back to you or vibrate them, whatever. Or say you've got a puppy that you're trying to get trained and you want to be able to work on its recall, and you want to be able to work it on, running trash, and you want to make sure it knows right from wrong. This collar is a great setup. That's what we've been using it primarily for. And with the mini band, we can use it on our puppy, Fuse, but we can also use it on Smooth when we run him. So we have got a few different kind of bands. This is the zero length flex band. So this allows us to use basically the entire collar. So it works with Smooth, it works with Fuse. We don't have to really change anything out from dog to dog. Just tighten it or loosen it per the dog. Once Fuse grows up a little bit more, we'll switch over to using the reinforced flex band. This is a little bit more of a rigid setup, and I like it a little bit more. But the mini allows for a lot of versatility. You can also run a 1-inch collar strap or a 3/4 inch collar strap. So if you have a smaller dog, a puppy, a beagle, whatever, you can use the 3/4 inch if you want a little bit lower, slimmer profile for your dog. Another kind of added accessory that we like to bundle with our TT25 is the Alpha LTE. I don't think there's any electronic out there that doesn't have its own bugs and kinks and doesn't have weak points. The TT25 has not failed us in a notable way whatsoever, but there has been a couple times maybe that we drop frequency or that it lags or whatever. There's a property that we hunt on that's real close. The cell tower is actually like in the same field, and it makes it do kind of funny stuff sometimes. So having the LTE signal, which does not get interfered with in the same way that the TT25 does, or the T20 even, is nice to have some kind of insurance just to know for sure that our dog's actually running the way that it is. And if it dies completely, you can keep tracking with this. And what's cool, and honestly it was something I didn't even really know until using this out in the field, even if, let's say, you lose radio frequency completely from your Garmin handheld to your TT25, the stimulation still works, even when radio frequency is lost. So when tracking is no longer available, you can still stim your dog back. So if you knew your dog was running that way and he was running in a hurry, and then you lose signal and you panic, you can go ahead and just, you know, beep him back to you, and, you know, get him in here and try to figure out what's going on. What's cool with all the newer Garmins is that they have automatic updates. So when you bring that collar back home and it's connected to the Wi-Fi automatically, once you put it on the charger, it's gonna auto download those updates. So you don't have to worry about plugging it into the computer, you know, once every whatever month or a couple months and to check it to see if it has any updates. It just automatically does it and automatically handles it for you. Another accessory that we've got is the extended battery pack. The profile on the extended battery pack and the regular one is not much different. It's pretty impressive actually that Garmin was able to fit, you know, almost double, essentially double, maybe even exactly double, I'm not that good at math, battery life into almost the same size package. With the standard battery, you've got 68 hours of life on dynamic tracking, which is pretty incredible. That means that that dog can be on this handheld constantly, and you can constantly be watching it non-stop with live updates for 68 hours before it dies. If you turn your download or your update rate, up to, you know, 2.5 seconds, or even if you turn it all the way up to 2 minutes, where it only updates every 2.5 seconds or 2 minutes, you can really stretch that battery life out even more. So with the bigger battery pack, you get 136 hours, and again with the standard one you get 68, and that's with the dynamic rate. You have a 9-mile range. We have not exceeded that, thankfully, and the times that we have lost frequency, it's pretty few and far between, and it's usually just kind of a random fluke, but it's not nearly as much as some of the other collar setups that we've used, so I'm not going to complain too much about that, especially when they have something like the LTE. But if you've ran any kind of Garmin or any kind of tracking collar setup, you kind of know that that's something that sometimes happens. So with us running our dogs, sometimes we run them, a lot of the times actually we run them near roads, so having the beacon lights is something that I think is nice to have just for peace of mind, that hopefully if they were to get into a road or near a road or crossed a road, a dog will get seen before you know, it gets too close to the car, because these lights are so bright. You can have it blink fast, you can have it blink slow, or you can have it on to continuous. All of that is controlled through your Garmin handheld. You need to have an Alpha handheld, and I think you might be able to use one of the Astro handhelds on it, but you'd have to go onto Garmin's website or call Conkeys to confirm before buying it. But if you've got an Alpha handheld, you're good to go with any of the Alpha products. So the Alpha LTE, the Alpha TT25, or the Alpha T20, all of those collars will work with your existing Alpha handheld. The stimulation has different levels, so you can go from 1 to 18 for vibrate, which you'll hear on the table. The beep is just a standard beep, there is no volume to that, but that's loud enough to get them corrected. And then the shock, it works, and I'm not going to test it and show you because I don't want to feel it, but it does work, so you'll just have to take my word for that. I'm not going to subject myself to being shocked. When you are putting on the straps, it helps if you get a little bit of water or a little bit of oil or something on them to slide them through, because they can be a little bit tight, but otherwise, if you're just going to change it and put it on for one dog, you kind of just set it and forget it. You really don't need to take them off unless you're going to try to deep clean it, which I did do before the video, and there was months worth of mud and probably a lot of blood and just about anything that you can imagine, which brings me to the charging. The charging ports on any Garmin collar, whether it be the TT25 or the T20 or the LTE, is probably the only thing that I could actually complain about with any of the Garmin products. And I'm not going to go too hard on them, but I do wish that they were any other design. The USB-C that they use for the handhelds I think is great, simple, everybody has USB-C, and I'm sure there's a reason why they chose to do it this way. I think that the engineers at Garmin are probably smarter than I am, so I'm sure there's a good reason for this. However, if you are going to go and order this setup, which I think you should, and you order it from Conkeys, you should just add on an extra charging clip, because it's not that uncommon to have one of the prongs or one of the charging little metal bits on the port break off when you're trying to snap it onto the collar. Thankfully, I haven't messed anything up on the collar. It's just been the little clips, but it wouldn't be a bad idea to have a backup, because when you need to charge your collar, you need to charge your collar. You don't want to have to wait 3 days to get, a new one in the mail. And that's really the only weak point that I've found with that. But we've, like I said, used this collar for tone breaking the puppy. We've used it for hunting smooth. I don't know how many nights, over 30 nights now at this point, probably close to 50 nights. And optioned out with all of the bands and the LTE and our Alpha 300. We have a very up-to-date, modern, and efficient tracking system for our dogs, which we do like a lot. So we don't want to lose them. We want to know where they're at. We want to be able to control them when and where we gotta. And we want to do it all with the dog's comfort in mind. Before running the TT25, I would run the T20 every night with an extra collar with their other collar, right? So I've got a collar I hook their lead to, I've got a collar for their T20, and then I've got a separate tracking only collar that I just got off Amazon. It wasn't really anything special. So the dog will be loaded down with 3 collars, and if you look back at some of our shorts and stuff, that that takes up a lot of space and a lot of real estate, and it's a lot of weight and a lot of bling on the dog, right? And if one of those collars gets shifted and it gets a little bit too tight, you can kind of notice it in how the dog's opening on track, and it's kind of annoying. With the Garmin, either the TT25 or the T20, you can run the LTE on the same strap, so you can be running both of these guys hooked up to one, and then just have one lead one collar rather to hook your lead onto, so you're only running 2 collars. And I think that's nice to make sure that the dog's comfortable and to make sure that you're not taking up tons of room. But even then, if you want to run 2 T20s, say you've got a real high priority dog and you want to have backups on backups on backups, I still think it makes more sense to just have an LTE onto one of these. But if you've got 2 of these and you want to run 2 T20s or 2 TT25s, whatever, by all means stack them up. But this is the setup that we run. This is the setup we'll continue to run. And if you guys have any questions, either leave a comment down below or get a hold of Conkeys Outdoors and let them know that we sent you. Anything and everything that you need, they're going to help you with, and anything that you've got questions about, I can do my best to help you too. But big shout out to Garmin for making a solid product. Shout out to Conkeys for facilitating that great product through awesome customer service and a great website. And thank you guys for your support and following for our channel. So if you guys don't mind, leave a like or drop a comment, subscribe if you haven't already. There's a lot of helpful links down in the bio, or in the description rather, that if you can engage with, that helps our channel a lot. We've got links to KINETIC, which is another awesome company that I think you guys should check out. If you're in love with the food that you feed now, then don't change a thing. But if you want to try to switch it and see how green the grass can be on the other side, check out KINETIC, because they make an awesome food. If you want to stick with what you got, it's worth checking out their supplements. Their mass supplement is probably the best thing I've ever given the dogs. Not only did their performance, mainly Smooth, because that's the only dog I really hunt at this point. Smooth in particular's performance was already great, but it skyrocketed. It went through the roof once I started coating his food with the mass. There's a lot of studies that prove that feeding a dog a diet that's rich in omega-6s and omega-3s can help improve their sense of smell and their tracking ability. And the mass is chock full of that. So we're gonna have another video eventually here talking about some KINETIC stuff, and I'll get more into that. But you should check out KINETIC, get any of your supplements, get any of your good new dog food. You can also order it through Chewy if you live somewhere a little bit more rural. If you can't find it at a store, Chewy will deliver it right to your house. So thank you to Conkeys, thank you to KINETIC, and thank you to you guys. And hopefully you have a good night and keep your dog on the right track.